Look what I've got, it seems that someone has sent me a box from Japan. It's Things Vinnk Sent Me. Good afternoon, my beautiful nerd nation. Tsusasi here, and welcome to the very first Things Vinnk Sent Me, where I get to share with you all of my wonderful retro import gaming treasures that I got from Vinnk and his store, Japan Retro Direct. Today we'll be taking a look at a couple of Famicom shmups and a twist on an arcade classic for the PC Engine. What are we waiting for? Hajime Masho! Let's go. First up is Hector 87, a Famicom shmup from Hudson Soft that launched in Japan in, 1987. This game had a stateside release under the revised title Starship Hector. The game is actually sort of a follow-up to Star Soldier, the classic vertically scrolling shooter released the previous year. Hector is, however, a departure from its predecessor in that it mixes up the formula with both vertically and horizontally scrolling stages. And the differences don't end there. Weapons and gameplay are expanded to include both forward-firing beams and ground-targeting bombs, like refined Xevious gameplay. Hector also eschews the traditional one-hit death for a shield meter. Shields can be replenished by destroying special ground structures that release shield energy capsules. Now, don't let all of these ship enhances lull you into a false sense of security. If you're not a shmup gamer, this game is not easy. It can actually be downright frustrating at times. Well, at least it was for me. That didn't stop it from being fun and enjoyable. The sprite work is good, with only the color palette holding it back. That is to say, there isn't a lot of variety in the color scheme, and as a result, ground targets and some enemies and their shots don't really stand out. The music's pretty good, and the main background music good enough that it was reused as background music in Super Star Soldier. In 1995, Hector 87 was ported to the Super Famicom as part of a compilation called the Caravan Shooting Collection that also included Star Force and Star Soldier. Caravan Shooting Collection was released exclusively in Japan. Next up is a horizontal shooter based on a legendary manga and anime franchise, Macross, also known as Robotech here in the States. Choshiku Yosai Macross, or Super Dimensional Fortress Macross, is a 1985 horizontal shooter for the Famicom, brought to the system by Namco. And it plays like a vanilla shooter from 1985. There's not a lot of variety, you mostly face the same enemies, and every stage ends in the same boss battle, if you can call it that. The only standout feature is your ability to transform from variable fighter to gearwalk or Batroid mode. When you're in fighter mode, it's a straightforward horizontal shmup and you can move fairly quickly around the playfield, but each shot requires an individual button press. Transforming into Batroid or gearwalk makes you a larger target, but basically gives you turbo fire capabilities. In all modes, you also have a limited number of missiles that fire in clusters. In Batroid mode, you do gain the ability to shoot behind you, but as I didn't encounter any enemies that approach from behind, it doesn't appear to be necessary. Just a way to pick up a few points you may have missed on the first pass. It's all cool and kind of fun, especially if you were a fan of Macross or Robotech. And that's the thing. Even though this game is pretty one-note, seeing sprite characters and enemies from the series and transforming your variable fighter or Veritech fighter just feels fun and nostalgic. So then, this isn't a game that you'll be playing for hours at a time, and you probably won't break it out more than a few times a year, or maybe when friends come over to kind of bathe in the nostalgia, but what's here is a fun little throwback to gameplay mechanics that may have refined over the years or been left behind altogether, but with a dose of nostalgia. And it's that nostalgia that's the spoonful of sugar that makes this game palatable. It makes us want to come back for more. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. Our last little treasure of the day is an update to a game that holds a very special place in video game history. It absolutely owned the arcades in the late 70s. It was a bit of a cultural phenomena and really inspired an entire genre of video games. Space Invaders Plus was brought to the PC Engine in 1990 by none other than Taito themselves, and includes the original arcade hit in all of its primal 70s splendor, pulsating and throbbing and marching its way into your retro gaming soul. The full title, Space Invaders Plus Fukatsu no Hi, translates as The Day of Resurrection. And I guess if you consider the fact that the original lived and ruled in 1978 and really hadn't been in the spotlight much after its reign, Resurrection is sort of appropriate. The Plus mode changes up the Invaders formula a bit and brings with it updated audio, graphics, and art style while keeping the overall vibe. Gone are the barriers you'd have to seek out for cover, replaced with an energy shield that allows you 3 hits or lives. While the core of the game remains, there are some departures that spice up the action. The biggest for me is that when destroyed, mystery ships now drop items, shield energy, extra lives, or power-ups that modify your weapon or affect gameplay, like freezing time. These add depth and variety to what is, of course, although a classic, a very basic arcade game. There are also some nice touches on stages like what I refer to as searchlight stages, where you can only see invaders illuminated by a conical beam of light directly in front of your ship. There's also a wider variety of enemies and enemy attacks, but always at the heart of it all is the tried and true Invaders hook. Defend, destroy, and stay alive as long as you can. And that's it for today's Things Vinnk Sent Me. I hope you enjoyed the new segment. I wanted to make it something special, and I really hope that it shows. So, did you enjoy what you saw? Did you find it fun, entertaining, informative? Let me know in the comments below. That's the only way that this channel can grow and improve, is with feedback. And if you really liked what you saw, do me a favor. Go ahead and subscribe, jingle the notification bell, and you'll be one of the first to know when I've uploaded new content, whatever that is. But seriously, you'll know when there's new content, and who knows, it might be another Things Vinnk Sent Me, and you don't want to miss that, do ya? I want to thank you so much for joining me on the journey, and as always, peace, love, and Nintendo. Things Vinnk Sent Me.